24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana, oh Afrika nakupenda sana.
Africa, nakupenda sana. Oh. We know, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that sound, it is the African experience with me, Dr. HLAMI. I'm often not alone. I'm with my co-host, Mandla AVENTINA MABUNDA. Mandla, how are you tonight, my sister?
Yo, I'm so good. I can't complain. We're happy and we're grateful for an opportunity. And I can't wait to hear this legal mind that we have on the show with us today, Doc. I really cannot wait.
Yeah, I know it is exciting, especially for South Africa as well. I have been watching, the AFCON, and everybody is excited behind Bafana Bafana. And it actually got me thinking, maybe we could have, found somebody from Cote d'Ivoire and profile, the country so that we know what the country has to offer. Maybe it's never too late. We can still, find somebody there and talk about the country. Hmm. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest for tonight, she's so versatile. And I know we're looking at her profile, she might have something to do with, soccer, and from the legal perspective, I don't know. But anyway, we have the powerhouse tonight. Her name is none other than Marcia Davis. Should I say Advocate Marcia Davis? Welcome to the show, Advocate Marcia.
Thank you, Doctor. It's such an honor and a privilege to be part of your show.
Wow, thank you, thank you. We feel honored, to have you here. We know you are a very, very busy person, and we appreciate, you spending, this, time, or maybe this hour, spending time with us. Okay, maybe we'll just go straight, to what the listeners are waiting for. We ask a question: who are you? Who is Marcia Davis in a nutshell? Or maybe should I say Advocate Marcia Davis in a nutshell?
Oh, I'm a little girl born and bred in Atchison, a mother of two, an organizer and an advocate. So that's in a nutshell. That's who I am. Born and bred in the townships. I had a big dream, and yeah, I followed my passion and my dream.
Mandla,
Wow.
I like that. Mandla, what do you think, my sister there?
For an advocate, she has very few words, I must say, hoping hoping that we'll still get to hear a lot more from our advocate. So Masha, welcome to the show. As we've discussed before, the show is
Thank
really
you.
about inspiring an African child, and we're hoping through
Mm,
your story we'll have boy and girls from all over Africa who would say, you know what, I want to be an advocate. Now, on that note, the legal profession is a very vast profession. I know there are
mm.
entertainment attorneys now, we hear about advocates, we hear legal advisors. Please, in a nutshell, take us through the different pathways and which one you are specifically on.
Okay, thank you for that question. So you've got attorneys and advocates and obviously legal advisors, but all of us do, oh, sorry, we do one degree. We do an LB degree, which is a 4-year degree. Then you can decide after 4 years, do you either want to be an attorney or an advocate. So attorneys do 2 year of articles under principal, and they also write the board exams. So once they've passed the board exams and they've done their internship training for 2 years, then they can be admitted as attorneys, which now they can be in a firm of attorneys. So we call them, they are called to be into firms. And in advocates, we can decide after 4 years, we can do a year of pupillage. That's also some advocacy training that you do for a year. Then you write the bar exams. After writing the bar exams, you can get admitted as an advocate. So that's the difference. And with an advocate, you operate more like a specialist. So an attorney is more like a GP, where you go and you tell the attorney maybe the issues that you have, and they will say, okay, this issue needs a specialist in this field. Maybe it's a family advocate you need to see, or someone who specializes in criminal laws. So, as an advocate, you take it further. So, you litigate. You are the one who argues the case for the client. Most of the time, we appear in the High Court, Supreme Court of Appeal, Constitutional Court. So, that's the difference between attorneys and advocates. Legal advisors, normally you find them in either in government institutions, you do a 4-year degree, then you get employed and you become a legal advisor, or probably in a company and you become maybe their counsel, and you sit there and you obviously you look at what the company issues are internally, and you are source probably an attorney or an advocate should that issue become too massive for you to handle. So those are the differences.
Hmm. Hmm. That is very, very interesting. What I've picked is that, there's a 4-year degree, but then people have to study further to either become an attorney or an advocate. Before we even
Yeah.
ask you, which one are you? We said, okay, you're an advocate, but I want to know what inspired you to even pursue the legal pathway in the first place.
It's a very funny story. I don't know if it's funny or it's inspirational. I never forget the day that I decided I want to be an advocate. I used to travel by bus to school, and the bus used to go past a huge building in Durban. So I did my high school in Durban, even though I'm born and bred in Pretoria, Atteridgeville. But in my high school years and my university years, I did them at KZN. So while I was traveling by bus to school, there was this building, it was Mississippi Shipping Company. And funny enough, I found myself like working in that building in their legal department, and never stopped dreaming. That building actually inspired me to do law and to be an advocate. So that was that, and I started obviously researching. And I never had plan B. It has always been advocate. I never wanted to be an attorney or a legal advisor. It has always been something that was embedded in me. And there's something about the mind. Once you convince yourself that you want to do something and you stick by it, something propels you towards that dream. And despite challenges or whatever obstacles along the way, because it has been a dream when I was a little child, there was nothing else that could actually I could stop that with that. It's either an advocate or nothing else.
Oh, wow. That's quite fascinating. It's so amazing, Doc, how we always say on the show that we all have a story to tell. We actually call ourselves a pair with a story, just us as being the host. And it really confirms what our advocate is saying, that you know what, once once you hold on to something, you identify. And in most cases, from all the guests that we feature on the show, they always mention one thing: it started while I was young. It started while the interest was sparked while I was young. I was doing something
Mm.
while I was young. My grandmother told me while I was young. I was passionate about, but everything now starts when they are young. So on that note, you sound like you have quite a very interesting story, intricate story that one would sit for hours and hours to listen to. And I'd like us to talk about the theme that you chose. So, with all our guests, when we feature them on the show, we say, okay, what is the one theme that maybe might define your story? So, I see here you chose the theme of perseverance. Now, what does that mean to you?
Perseverance to me, it means continued effort to achieve something, despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. I mean, I can I can identify with all of those with difficulty, failure, opposition. I mean, it hasn't been easy, I must say. So perseverance for me sticks out because as I see my life turn out, anything that has opposition, there is always an opportunity on the other side. And I've started to look at opposition as an opportunity to actually grow. When something comes my way and it's challenging, I have to push myself to go through that thing because on the other side there's something greater. So I can really identify with the perseverance. Actually, how can I put it? I'm attracted to challenges because I know on the
Wow.
other side there's greater things.
Yeah, and that's beautiful because I mean, I always say plan for the worst so that you're able to go through anything. Because life really, in
Mhm.
most cases, it's not kind to us. So if you plan as if you're planning for the worst case scenario, you tend to fare very well. They say you aim for the
Yes,
stars so that you can fall on the clouds. So or something to that to that effect. But I like that. I like that. So now what gave you the courage? Because there's always something pushing us. You know, the people that are heroes, the people that are inspiring, are leaders, there's always that thing that made them to, stand up and say, I'm not gonna stop. So what was your courage behind your perseverance?
I think for me it's support. Support
Mm-hmm.
structure means a lot. I mean, some we all have dreams and we want to achieve them, and but if they need a little bit of a push, from the people that either you believe in or they believe in you. It's something about support does amazing things in you achieving your
Mm-hmm.
dreams. For me, what really made a difference in me getting to where I am, it was the support structure that I had. My mom, my dad. At some point, my mom was like, law is too difficult. You wanted to do law, you want to do something quick at university, 3 years, and you're out and you can work. My dad's like, no, let the child do whatever she wants to do. I mean, she has a
Mm-hmm.
dream to do law. And my mom's like, but now what if she doesn't make it? And I think there was that one person. You need either one person that really believes in you, believes beyond what you believe yourself. Um, and if that person or yourself, I mean, sometimes it takes you to believe in yourself. Like, it takes a lot of strength to do that. But when you've got somebody that believes in you, also now like want to push yourself not to disappoint them, to say, this person sees something in me. Maybe
Yeah.
let me dig a little bit deeper to find that thing. So my dad encouraged me to pursue the career that I'm in right now. And my mom followed suit. And both of them, got me through the challenges that I faced.
Mm.
Wow,
Wow.
wow, wow, wow. Wow, that is very, very interesting. And I think something that I also picked in your story is that when you said, you got inspired as a child, you went into this building or firm, and that exposure told you that, you know what, this is what I want to pursue. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, we are talking to Advocate Marcia Davis. We're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to explore further some of the things that she's doing, because she's not just an advocate. She spoke about perseverance, but she really, really has a story behind. We're going to take a commercial break. Don't go away. We will be back shortly.
Are you ready for the ultimate dietary powerhouse? Look no further than Masana Dietitian's Nutro Boost. Our scientifically formulated low GI food is designed to give you the boost you need to fuel your body and reach your health goals. With NutriBoost, you have the flexibility to enjoy it as a high-fiber cereal or a satisfying shake. Simply mix it with water and indulge in the mouth-watering flavors that we have to offer. But that's not all. NutriBoost is packed with essential nutrients that are beneficial for your overall well-being. Enriched with 20 immune-boosting vitamins and minerals, it's a convenient and effective way to support your immune system. And here's the best part. NutriBoost is gluten-free, egg-free, and high in omega-3, making it suitable for those with dietary restrictions or allergies. Need an energy boost? NutriBoost has you covered. It's high in energy and protein, providing you with the fuel you need to power through your day. Whether it's a busy morning or an intense workout session, say goodbye to midday slumps and hello to sustained energy with NutriBoost. Try it today and experience the difference. For orders or to become a distributor, contact us on the following details.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this is the African Experience. You are with me, Dr. HLAMI NGWENYA. I'm with Mandla AVENTINA MABUNDA. Welcome back. We are talking to a powerhouse. Her name is Advocate Marcia Davis. You know, just before the break, she was talking about some of the things that, encouraged her, the support, that she got. But also she shared with us, how, this legal, space look like. Marcia, when you spoke about the theme perseverance, you mentioned three things. You mentioned difficulties, failure, and opposition. What I want you to share with the listeners is your journey, your professional journey.
Yeah.
How was it like? I'm sure in that journey, difficulties, failure, and opposition might pop. How was
Yeah.
it like from when you started to where you are now?
Okay, so when I started after university, as I said, it has always been embedded in me to become an advocate. So after I finished my law degree, I applied for pupillage at KZN Bar. And at the same time, I applied for for employment in Pretoria, which is Department of Justice at the time. And I got the response first from the Department of Justice. Then 3 months later, the KZN bar responded. Then I was like thinking, should I go to the bar or should I go and work and get some experience? So I chose money. I chose money because when you do pupillage, you don't get paid.
Mhm.
It's it's something you do for 12 months without an income. And I thought, you know what, let me just relieve my mom. And she was the sole breadwinner. I've got an opportunity to work for government. So I started working for Department of Justice um, at the Master of the High Court. That was my first employment.
Hmm.
And that was in 2003 when I got employed at the Master of the High Court. Then within the years that I worked for Justice, I got admitted as an advocate in 2006. So before, um, many moons ago, you could actually make an application to court to be admitted as an advocate as long as you've got an LLB.
Mhm.
Now you can't do that. You have to go through pupillage, your 1 year, as I've mentioned earlier on, and write your exam. So I was privileged enough those years to actually um, have an application served, and then I was admitted as an advocate in 2006. Then I moved on to National Department of Environmental Affairs after 4 years. I worked in the department, different divisions. So I moved up within the department. I ended up at appeals unit where I was the minister's advisor on appeals. That was my last um, employee. In 2019, I left the department. That was after 15 years of service as a public servant in government. Then I came to join the bar in 2020. So
Okay.
that in a nutshell, that's how my career started. And now I sit at the bar. I'm a member of the Pretoria Bar and a member of Johannesburg Bar as listed. So I hold chambers in Mazel's Chambers in Sandton and B33 in Hazelwood, Pretoria. So I've got two chambers. I commute 3 times Sandton, twice a week, Pretoria.
Wow. I mean, the legal, space is not mine. I'm looking at, I'm listening to your experience. You worked in the public sector, justice, environment, and you're talking about the bar. If you talk to a layman person like me, when I'm looking at the bar or when I hear the bar, I'm
Yeah.
already looking at people drinking wine and beers and stuff. Mandla.
Oh, doc, I'm telling you, I'm sitting here. I'm like, okay, now where do we go from there? Because I'm also not from the legal space, but it's quite interesting though. I would imagine it's quite interesting following the journey, and I'm sure those that are keen on being like legal gurus like yourself in future find this very fascinating. Now you mentioned something, and please pardon me, pupillage.
Pupillage.
Yes.
Pupillage. So when I break it down, for me, it's pupil. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
it will
Yes.
be interesting to hear about it. So please take us through that. What does that entail? And I know now you're the secretary of the
Yes.
pupillage training committee. Now, what does that look like? What does a day of a secretary of pupillage training committee looks like?
Maybe
It's quite
Mandla,
a
hold on. Before you even come to the day, break it
yes.
down. This pupillage, because some of us. I mean, I'm not in the childbearing stage anymore. I'm
Yeah.
sure I will give my child pupillage because it sounds like a
Hey.
beautiful name. Yes.
Okay, so pupillage is like an internship training. It's called advocacy training. So if you want to be an advocate, you must go through pupillage. If you want to be a member of the bar, I'm going to explain what the bar is, so that I take away the
Yes.
bottles and the loud music out of your head. So
Thank you.
so pupillage is what you do when you are done with varsity and you want to be an advocate. So you go and you apply to an institution called the bar. So every province has a bar. You've got Mpumalanga bar, Polokwane bar, a Pretoria bar. So, but there is a bigger body called the GCB that looks after all the bars in South Africa. So it's like any profession, any like your medical profession, they've got an institution that looks after them regarding ethics and medical negligence. So you are accountable to a certain body.
I see.
So that's the bar. When you say a member of the bar it looks after you. So if I violate any member of the public or I take their money, I run with it, they can go to the bar and report me there.
See.
So it looks after our interests. It also looks after the public's interest, but we also have the LPC. That's another body that looks after all the professionals in South Africa. So we've got like 3 tiers: LPC, GCB, and the bars
I see.
provincial. That's how it works. And then with being every bar has a training unit because when you apply as a pupil to do pupillage, there is a certain unit within the bar that has to look after your interests as a pupil, to train you, to make sure you've got a mentor, and your mentor is somebody who can be able to walk with you. How many years does your mentor have at the bar? They look at that. Before they assign a mentor to you, they look at the caliber of a person that they're going to give to you to be your mentor. So it's
Oh.
mentee and mentor. They pair you together, and then they walk with you throughout the 12 years, the 12 months, right? 12 years, 12 months. So
Oh, wow.
you go with them, you go to court with them, you go to the consultations, you see how they conduct themselves in court. you see the demeanor on how you need to stand when you present your case in court. It's more like everything you have to take in within that year to be an advocate and practice on your own the next year. So it's very intense journey of a year that you have to walk. So I I've got the convener that I assist in the training. So the pupillage, I communicate basically with everybody else that has to be trained either as an advocate. So we also train advocates who've been at the bar for a while. So there is advanced advocacy training. There you go, the judges train you. So you go to an excursion for like 3 days, and the judges of all the courts, either Supreme Court of Appeal or High Courts, they train you how to actually present your case better. So it doesn't only end at pupillage stage. So I'm a secretary of pupillage, looking after training for advocates and those who want to be advocates in the future.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Advocate Masha, we deal. I know Doc also deals with a lot of entrepreneurs, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes it can get quite tricky. So,
Yeah.
what legal pathway would one need to have in place when they are on that journey of being an entrepreneur? I'm talking also in terms of your IPs and all the legal requirements that one would need to beef up their operations when they are growing as an entrepreneur.
You mean in entrepreneur in the legal field, what do you need to do
So
to
so as
protect?
an entrepreneur, what sort of legal services would I maybe need in my company to make sure that everything is above board, for example?
Um, you need to have very good accounting systems, hey? Because you sell time as an advocate. So I sell time. I don't sell anything else. So when I start talking, it's money ticking in my account. So you need somebody who's going to look after your practice, a practice manager.
Okay.
Um, so I have 5 practice managers as we speak.
Five. Take us through that. Take us through that, please. Why five? Uh-huh.
So there is a company called Oxcon. I'm not trying to advertise them, but they do quite a great work for my practice. So they look after advocates' practices, and they know what the needs of advocates is or are. And on a daily basis, you go to court, and you forget to write that item down somewhere because it's money that you have to invoice at some point. It's an item that you have to put in your invoice. So they have now they do my accounts. So they do my invoices. They follow up on invoices that haven't been paid. So this company now they have a WhatsApp group where the WhatsApp group that's created for an advocate. So for me in my WhatsApp group, I've got 5 ladies who look after if an invoice has been um, paid, submitted. What have you done? They check up on me every morning, during the day, and in the evening, 3 times a day to say, it's morning now. What's happening? Are you going to court? Then I will say, yes, I'm going to court. After court, they will say, anything we need to know. Then I say, I was in court for an hour. They know the rates. Then already with me giving them those items, they prepare invoices for each and every matter.
Oh,
So
wow.
I don't have to really send out an invoice. So there's people who look after my time, if I may put it like that,
Yep.
because my
Wow.
time is money.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so yeah, if you said time is money, you used to say that when just talking loosely, time is money
Definitely.
in practice.
Wow, 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 wow. Man, I'm learning something. We are really learning something. I like even when you speak, you sound like you are someone whom I would wish to pay, for that time because you really know your story. We're gonna take another commercial break. When we come back, I would like us to talk a little bit more about the learning, because you spoke about the mentorship and things like that. It just gives me a sense that one never ends, we never stop to learn, to become better in what you do, you have to learn continuously. I would like us to pick on that when we come back for another commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
don't go away. We take another commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Africa Nakupenda Sana, and this is the African Experience. You are with me, Dr. HLAMI, with my beautiful co-host, Mandla AVENTINA MABUNDA. We are talking to a very powerful, knowledgeable, experienced, advocate, Marcia Davis. Advocate Marcia, before we went for the short break, you were talking about this learning. You spoke about the pupillage and how the different mentors, take people through that 12 months, sorry. And what I picked there is that, there is continuous learning in the field. People have to
Yeah.
learn and learn. But there is one thing
Yes.
that I'm picking. Surely there is pupillage, which I would think is a forced learning, because for you to become an advocate, you have to go through that.
Yes.
But we also have
Yes.
voluntary learning. When I look at your profile in your CV, you also do voluntary learning, where it's learning that is not about you becoming an advocate, but it's learning that you voluntarily do in order to further your studies, to know more. I want you to tell us a little bit about some of the qualifications and continuous learning that you continue to do voluntarily, and why is it important for you to do that?
Yeah. Thank you for that question, Dr. Kami. I think in law you cannot not evolve and do and learn, and because the law evolves every day, the law changes every day. So you have to continuously keep learning, and you need to be able to venture into areas that are not common, if I may put it like that. In the past, you will find that maybe if you are a lawyer or an attorney, advocate, you and you are female, you do family law. You do things that has to do with children and marriage and custody, and those those those, those type of fields. I think for me, if you look at it, it's more like we stereotyped in a way. Why have if I'm a woman and I'm an advocate, I must not do family law? And you find that there are areas that are male dominated and women are not there. And I thought to myself, well, I want to get there. I want to know what is aviation law. I want to know what is this tax law. But for me to get there, I need to go in there knowing something. I need to go in there with paper in my hand. I can't say I'm female and I'm black and I need to do this work. It doesn't work like that. You need to be competent. So hence the continuous. For me, I don't know, I've got this thing of just going for things that people will never go for, like football. And I get inspiration from just things that I watch every day. And so that I can do this. My son is doing football. He's playing football. What is this football? And what does it entail? What does it look like professionally? Then I go and learn that thing. And when I pursue it, funny enough, it finds me in practice. When you find it's the thing that you do casually because you are inquisitive or you want to just know more about that type of field, to a certain extent, find you in practice. They always say when you come to practice as an advocate, practice finds you. You don't choose what type of work you're going to do, because you cannot go out and say, hey, here I am, I'm Advocate David. It's touting. It's against the
Yeah.
rules for you to go out for work. Work must find you. So you sit pretty in your chamber and you hope that an attorney will know about you, will hear about you, they will see your work somewhere, and they will give you a brief. So I chose that different part, and I you can't stop learning. You actually, you're committing suicide if you stop learning when you are an advocate.
Definitely. Wow. It sounds very interesting. She's coming out now. I like this feisty advocate. Like, you see, she's a fighter, and I can feel that she's trying to compose herself, Doc. She's trying to sound like a lady, and we want that feistiness. We want all that, because I think we are actually at a time where we need to, you know what, wake up and smell the coffee.
Yeah.
One lady once said, you know, we need to own up the spaces. We need to go out
Mm.
there and the world. You know, it's so amazing to actually sit here and listen to that. And you know, you can feel the fire, Doc, really, when she's talking. If we get her when she's most relaxed, I'm telling you, we'll get way much more than she's letting on today. But in any case, you mentioned something about you know, your work finding you, and you briefly stated something to do with soccer. What are some of the high level projects that you've been involved in? Because honestly speaking, a lot of us think law is boring. You go to court and you come home. But I mean, practicing law while doing a passion a sport like soccer or something like that. Please take us through some of those high level projects that you're involved in.
So I have done work for provincial soccer, if I may put it like that. So you find that there are disputes in the club, and they want to fire the chairman, or something happened. They also use the dispute management, so they go for dispute resolution, and they don't find probably they don't find themselves. Then they take it up to an appeal stage. When you want to appeal any dispute in nationally, you take it to SAFA House. SAFA is the appeal authority for any disputes that happen in football provincially. So I had to take those appeals and argue them at SAFA House. So that was my first exposure into football professionally. But I started actually having an interest in football when my son played for the German school, and also another club. And as a soccer mom, I would always have to drive him there, take him there, wait for him. And I was like, do I just stand here and watch the match? And I know I can't contribute anything. I no. So I went deeper into this thing, and I studied sports law. Studied sports law with the University of Pretoria, and I got to know how sports broadly, how sports is managed, and advertising and doping and you name it. Um, then from there, when I got the certificate and I came to practice, I got briefed on soccer issues. Talk about practice finding you, right? When you pursue something that you're passionate about. So that's how I got into soccer. And so I did those type of matters, and I'm very ambitious. I think you can tell, nothing stops me. When I want to know something, I'll know it. And at some point, I got to, when I was doing pupillage, if I may, I don't know if I should mention part of my failures now, or maybe wait for the question. Can I mention how I
Yeah,
got?
go
Okay.
ahead. Mm.
Okay, so I did 12 months of pupillage, and in a very difficult time of my life. I was going through divorce and just so many things were not making sense. And I didn't pass pupillage. It was I was the only person who failed it that year. Like literally no oral, nothing. I was devastated. But now my mom encouraged me to go back and do it again. I did it again. So I did pupillage 24 months instead of 12 months. No salary, nothing, no income, no stipend, nothing. And being a mom and doing this thing again. I did it again, but the second time when I did it, my mentor said something to me. You get a different mentor every time when you do pupillage. They don't give you the same person again. So this time my mentor was Yaku Foster, such an amazing man. He took me through pupillage, and it was like I was doing pupillage for the first time when he took me in as a mentor. And he taught me different ways of just handling practice management. And one thing he said to me, he said, I want you to read two judgments every day. One judgment in the morning from the Supreme Court of Appeal, and one judgment in the evening from Constitutional Court or High Court. That's how you learn the law quickly, because now in the judgment you will see the mind of the court, how they analyze that case from both sides that argued the matter. And there will be some case law, they make reference to previous judgments for them to come to a decision. So you need to probably learn the law by reading judgments every day. I did that. And one day I came across this judgment that I was like, this judgment is so wrong. I don't actually agree with what the judge said on this matter. And at the end of each judgment, it tells you appearances for, you know, who argued for the applicant, you know who argued for the respondent. There's names of the advocates there. I Googled the advocate who argued for the applicant, found him on the website. I got his email, emailed him. Dear SC, he was obviously senior counsel. My name is Marcia Davids. I just read this judgment. I don't agree with it. On this grounds, I gave him 12 points. And this was a customs telecoms matter. I did telecoms air and space law many years ago with Peggy's. So that's how I was able to comment on the judgment. So I'm very inquisitive, if you can tell. You ask about something, I know something, at least a little bit about everything almost. So I said to him, I don't agree. It was a Samsung device they were fighting about, and more the definition to say it is a cellular telephone. The other side said it's a cellular, it's a smartphone. And I had to like break it down. What is a smartphone? And I had to like the specifics of it. And I gave him those points. I said, maybe go in and appeal this thing. And he said, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, all the best with pupillage. I wrote my exams. When I started practicing 2 months, he called me, Marcia, we're going to the Supreme Court of Appeal. We want to be a junior on the matter.
Oh, wow.
And we are going to argue your points at the Supreme Court of Appeal. Like that. So that was my first big matter, Samsung versus SARS, customs matter. So one of the high profile matters that I did. And from there, it gave birth to other things because I got to know other advocates on the matter. And I'm now into intellectual property. And then I'm the secretariat for the Intellectual Property Arbitration Center South Africa as we speak. So I knew nothing about IP, but now I know a little bit about it, and I'm actually trying to expand my knowledge into the field.
Wow. You know, there's something, Mandla, and something that I'm picking, Marcia, here. You said something about sometimes as a woman, you know, we tend to go to, you know, those kind of, you know, stereotype kind of, you know, pathways like, you know, family law and things like that. Just through these conversations, I'm have my notebook here. You know, I'm a teacher by profession, so writing. So just through this conversation, I had picked, you know, different things that you kind of, you know, have expertise around. You studied, you know, in the environment, you know, space. You
Yes.
spoke about aviation, you know, space law, sports law, soccer, and what. This is something that I would not have thought about, you know, because when you talk about, you know, advocates and whatever, we're looking at those stereotype, areas. I'm
Mm.
not letting you off the hook here because I follow you on social media or wherever, follow. There's
Mm.
something that stood out, and I think it has not come out clearly now. The flying. I know we talk about flying as an analogy. I always say, I believe I can fly, but you fly
Mm.
literally so. Do you want to take us through that? What
Oh
What is your
yeah. I mean,
relationship with flying? With flying?
uh, I got fascinated by planes when I was nominated to sit on the board of directors at the Coves Estate. So a Coves Estate is an aero estate where you have your house, and your house is attached to a hangar where you park your plane. Huh? Talk about nice life.
I tell
so
you.
so my mom bought into that estate, and when she bought into I took interest in everything that they do. I mean, they communicated every project. So they had like a frog sanctuary, a bird sanctuary. So it's more like a nature aero type of eco, environment. And when they wanted to do something called environmental management plan for the estate, because it used to be a potato farm before this
Oh,
estate.
okay. Mm,
So they're trying to preserve certain areas where things can grow because the soil is fertile, and they had an environmental management plan that they took out for comment. So I commented. I was working in environmental affairs at the time, so it was
mm,
fitting enough for me to comment on the document. I commented on the document. I sent it back, and they took interest in who's this person who's commenting, who's always like very um, engaging and involved in the project. Then they asked me to sit on the board as an aesthetics director of the Coles Estate. So I sat as an aesthetics director. My role there was to the look and feel of the estate. When you enter the estate, you must see the garden manicured. You must know it's me. If you see like
mm,
if the paint work is not done properly, you must blame me. So that was my
Yeah.
duty as an assistant director, and I looked after buildings and the nature, really anything environmental related or anything that you build. It was my job.
mhm,
So there was a project that was initiated to have hangars, to build hangars, planes for people who don't have hangars attached to their homes. That was my project. I had to develop guidelines for hangars. While I was developing the guidelines for the hangars, I had to engage with the aero director. So on the board, you've got directors for each with different fields, your
mm,
HR,
mm,
your legal, your aesthetics. So I had to really plan this thing with this the aviation director. While I was planning with him, I got to know the person. Who are you? What do you do? No, I used to fly for SAA for 25 years. I'm now retired. I fly small planes. I actually build small planes. I'm like, what? You build them? Yes. Then I got to, can I come see when you build these planes? My inquisitive mind. Go went there and see,
mm,
saw how he built his planes. Then fast forward a few months, they increase the levies. Why? Because they need to refurbish the landing strip for the planes. I mean, I don't fly a plane. Why must I contribute towards this landing strip? No, you have to because it's part of the estate. I'm like, I'm going to fly planes just for that reason. I must be able to use this landing strip if I'm going to pay for it. So there I went to a ground school. We call them ground schools to learn how to fly. It was more like a casual thing. I did it while I was working for government. So you need certain hours to qualify, and you need to write your exams, obviously. So I did my hours very slow. It took me like 4 or 5 years to get that. So it doesn't matter how long you study, as long as you acquire your hours. That's how I got to learn
wow,
to fly.
wow, wow, wow. Hey, Mandla, hey, my sister. Wow, 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 wow. I really, really, really like, your energy and just, listening to your story, talking about perseverance and you mentioned it briefly that, you had to fail, populate because you were going through divorce and things like that. I'm looking at, somebody who's going through whatever challenges, failure and all that, but you tell yourself that no, failure will never define you. You will
Yeah,
achieve, what you want to achieve, and you don't want to
yeah,
be like everyone else, who's doing something that is in the mainstream, but you are exploring and expanding and doing, very exciting things. Wow, when we are having fun on the show, the time, just, fly. Maybe just another
yeah.
question before I give it to Mandla. I looked at your profile as well. You also registered for a PhD, or you want to
Yes.
register for a PhD, something like that. May you please tell us?
No, I am. I am a student. I'm
Yes.
almost done.
Oh, okay. So tell us a little bit
So,
about that. Mm.
so I registered for a PhD after I left government. And what inspired that is I did a short course at UJ on on air quality at some point. And then the professor said, maybe pursue this further. But besides that, there was a matter that I was handling at environmental affairs that it had to do with climate change. It was the first climate change litigation matter that I had to handle at environmental affairs. And I thought to myself, it'll be very interesting to do a PhD in this topic actually, because I birthed it, So that's how there I went, registered for PhD. I should be done, fingers crossed, next year and graduating.
Wow. Wow.
Sure.
Wow.
No, this is quite fascinating, honestly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to a very diverse human being today. I mean, there is nothing that you don't do. You something tickles your fancy, you go for it, make your decision, quickly jump into it, and you do it. And it seems like you're not stopping anytime soon. I mean, graduating with a PhD only in a few months' time. Really, next year is just here. Now, with
Yeah.
every hat that you wear, like multiple hats that you're wearing, when
Mm.
does Marcia relax? And what does Marcia do to relax aside from being advocates and?
I, I wouldn't say relaxing as such. I love running. I'm more of a
Mhm.
adventurous person. I enjoy hiking. I enjoy running. I enjoy just being on my own, having lunch by myself. Take myself out for a date. I take myself out for dates, and there's nothing wrong just to be alone. And I also
Exactly.
do massages once a month. I must do massages once a month.
Oh wow. One you
Yeah.
know what, I'm intrigued about the estate thing. I really need to come out for tea one of those good days where you're
You must.
relaxing.
You must. You must.
Oh, Doc, you know
Yeah.
what? There's a lot that we still are yet to explore out there. Hey, honestly, I'm
I know.
hoping there's one person out there listening and saying you can actually have it all.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Maybe before we even finish, I know she also does, some side hustles, something that has to do with decluttering and things like that. Maybe please tell us about that
Oh,
before we run out of time.
no, I did that before my life became so busy in practice, but when occasionally now and then I would do it. So I don't like clutter. I don't like you know, things that are messy areas that they really mess me up in my head. So thought to myself, you know what, when things were really bad in my life and the 2 years, remember the 2 years I didn't work, I
Yes.
had to be a domestic worker underground to
Okay.
make sure that my kids have something. So I rebranded myself and became the decluttering queen. Eh? So my mom says you are a glorified domestic worker. That's what she said. You clean houses, just put it like that. I'm like, no, I'm a declutterer. I'm not a clean. I'm not a domestic. I'm declutterer. I'm organizing people's lives here. You know, when my rate speaks to my profession, I cannot now say I'm domestic. Then they say they will pay you 250. No, I'm a declutterer. You must pay me the amount that I want.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yes,
I mean, we
you
can
name
spend
your
the whole
price
day
because of
talking.
the tag you wear. So I'm wearing a
Yeah.
tag. It's different to domestics, guys. Please pay me
Yeah.
accordingly. Yes.
Wow.
So
Wow.
when your
Yeah.
life is just doesn't make sense, you call me.
I don't. The target market. I'm sure I could tell LSM. You know what? I don't even want to go there, but yeah, the declaring target market. I am telling you, it's not. It's not. Time is money for those declarator. But talk us through your. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure if you want to tell us something about this in a short a while about you homeschooling, how you manage that front, because as single parents sometimes it can be hectic managing your work and now there's home. How do you manage that work life balance?
Perfectly. I think it's the best thing for me because I couldn't do the dropping off and the picking up and the lunch and this uniform. So with me having to manage two practices, and obviously I had an opportunity to actually go study abroad last year. I couldn't because I'm thinking my kids, your school, now I don't have to worry about school. They can go with me wherever I go and be
Oh,
at school
wow.
online.
Yeah, okay, Marcia,
So
how do you do all that? How do you check homework while you're coming from court? And oh my goodness, where do you get the energy
no,
from?
my brother, I outsource, ma'am. Me, I don't
Okay.
do everything. I've got people doing things for me, and I
Ah.
pay. I believe
She
Yeah.
works.
in paying for peace of
You
mind.
work.
So my brother is a teacher, so he goes
You.
online and checks. Oh, Zolani, you were in class and you were like so bored. Why?
Mhm.
I'm looking at the video. You can play the videos,
Ah,
class,
okay.
because I recorded. He says, no, but you
Wow.
see, you didn't do your work. Let's do your work. So he does it. He's in Durban. My son is in Pretoria. They do that together online.
Amazing
And
Wow.
stuff.
I don't, yeah,
Wow, you work. This is what we call working smart. You working smart. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
for spending the time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we have time for tonight. We want to say thank you and continue to fly and fly even
Thank
higher, like
you.
literally so. Wow, thank you
Thank you
so much.
so
This
much.
was so inspiring.
Yeah,
At
Thank you
this
for
definitely
having
point,
me.
was.
I had a great time.
Yeah,
thank you.
I
At this
really
point,
enjoyed it.
we want to say thank you to our technical producer, DJ Mercy, behind those closed doors. She's the one who's making sure that the show goes on. And thank you so much, Manla, and thank you to the technical team. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, same time, same place. We will be having a pre-Valentine, celebration, and we'll be bringing you a very, very, an inspiring, guest where you can order, some cakes and wow. Thank you so much, Mandla. Over.
Oh, thank you so much. They must all have a blessed evening. And thank you to our splendid guests. We had such fun time together. And all the best, same
Thank
time, same place next week. Good night.
Thank you.
you. Night, bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika, nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika, nakupenda sana.